Hey everybody, welcome back to Rebootleggers. It's a comedy podcast where we reboot everything. I'm one of your hosts, Scott Owen.
I'm the other one, Frank Serra.
Frank, it is Christmas? This episode is,
Yes,
is the
this
Christmas
is Christmas.
episode. Christmas
This
was
is
either,
Christmas.
depending on when this episode goes up, Christmas is either today or yesterday.
Or soon from later.
Or Christmas has either happened or it will almost happen. Our other episodes leading up to this one were, Christmas themed, but this is the big one. This is the one where this is the one that's basically getting sent all the way to Santa, and this one will make or break. Direct mail, Federal Express.
Bringing it home.
Used to be called Federal Express, and then they were like, that's too long. People don't have time to say that whole thing. What if we just called it FedEx? And that's where we're at today.
And that's how that happens.
And that's really the true meaning of Christmas. That's like the real miracle there, is that we all didn't have to speak so much. But I figured, given that this is the day of days, we'd go big with everybody's the undisputed, I almost said unrecognized, which is the exact opposite. The undisputed king of Christmas movies, the Nutcracker.
Cracking 'em.
What do you know about this Nutcracker?
Well, it's your pretty classic,
Tchaikovsky.
zero to hero story.
Zero to hero. It is a pretty classic zero to hero.
Yeah, the Nutcracker's a wooden soldier boy.
Puts nuts in his mouth.
And his mortal enemy is the Mouse King.
Rat King. Are they
Mouse
just
King.
mice? They're mice? They're not even rats?
Yeah, it's the Mouse King.
But mice are nice. Rats
So
are
they're
bad.
from Sugar Plum Land or something like that.
Sugar Plumland.
And so they
Say it like a British person.
Sugar Plum Land.
No, Plumland.
Sugar Plum?
Plumland.
Plumland?
Yeah,
Sugar
You
Plumland.
have to say Plumland.
Sugar Plumland.
Sugar.
Sugar Plumland.
What?
So
Have you heard
So
of
they're
British
from Sugar
person?
Plum Land, and I guess they've been locked in a pretty pitched battle for the fate of the kingdom. But then on Christmas, they come to the real world, I think, as toys, maybe, but like not always. But then they can. And then there's a little girl named Claire, whatever, based on translation. And she loves Christmas. Mm-hmm. And then she gets shrunk to tiny size.
I think everything else, well, yeah, it's hard to tell. I don't know if she gets shrunk or everything else grows big.
Or everything else gets big. But either way, there's now a human-sized Nutcracker man. And he is warring with the Mouse King. And the Mouse King almost gets him. And then the girl... She takes off her shoe and like throws it at the Mouse King, and he's like distracted, and then the Nutcracker like kills him and like can take the kingdom, and then he becomes the king of Sugar Plum Land, and he takes the girl back with her, and they're like happily forever after, basically. And then I guess Christmas is saved. Santa doesn't really show up, but he really should.
Santa does not show up, but here's who I do want to talk about is Drosselmeyer. Do you know about Drosselmeyer?
Yeah, the doll maker.
Yeah, so this starts. He wears many hats. So at the beginning, they're just at like their parents' Christmas party, right? And everybody's like, "Hey, we're having a party. Kids get presents." And then, also, what's a grandmother clock compared to a grandfather?
So a grandmother clock is inside of it. It has cookies.
Okay, there's also a granddaughter clock. What is going on?
No, there's only two kinds of clocks, so let's not get weird.
Well, anyway, I really need to figure out. I got a lot to learn about clocks. But so this they take pains to draw attention to this grandmother clock with an owl on top of it. And during the party,
Who?
Yeah, an owl. And during the party, that clock ding dongs. And then Drosselmeyer comes in, and he is a local councilman, magician,
What?
and Clara's godfather.
Okay, so you got local government, prestidigitation, and guardianship.
And he is also a talented toy maker.
Okay, he just has his fingers in 7 pies.
Yes. Okay. So then so he gives them nutcrackers. Or he gives Clara a nutcracker. It's one of the toys, and she loves it. And then her little brother immediately breaks it, and she's like, "This is upsetting." Drosselmeyer's like, "I'll take it, fix it." Or no, maybe they just like put like a bandage on it or something. It's super weird. But she wakes up in the middle of the night. She comes down to like check on the Nutcracker to like see if he's gotten better because she's an idiot, I guess. the Nutcracker's laying in a little bed because this is a weird town they live in, and the clock strikes.
Well, because everything's alive, but not, but it is.
So this is like this is like the first Toy Story.
Yeah, yeah, except also the Mouse King was never a toy, and he's alive, and he's in the house and in the walls.
Yeah, but so she goes down to check on him. The clock strikes, and she looks up at the clock, and Drosselmeyer is perched on top of it. A fully grown man is just sitting. He's like.
So he is himself an animate toy. He was once a man.
No, I think he's still a man, just like Spider-Man crouched on top of a clock.
I'm looking at pictures of large clocks, and they can't hold men.
I think he's like a weird Spider-Man creeper.
So why is he? Okay, they don't explain why he's watching the toy, but he is.
Yeah, and then suddenly everything
so he
gets
knows
big.
that he knows the toy's alive.
He must, or maybe it's his magic that brings it to life. He is a magician.
Oh, so he prestidigitates a kind of false soul into the toy.
Yeah, I guess he's got an eye patch too, which makes him look pretty villainous. He's also got like a top hat and a black cape and a cane. He looks like a typical tie you to the railway villain.
An 18th century gentleman villain.
Yeah, he's basically just missing a twisty mustache.
He had to give it up for dark power.
Oh yeah, everybody knows the mustache is the greatest house of magical energy, and if you sacrifice it, you get to take it inside of yourself.
So then they come alive, and there's like a war.
So then everything gets big, which I think is just a stage version of showing that she gets small. And here's the most exciting part in the movie is the mice show up. The Nutcracker leads an army of gingerbread men. The gingerbread men get eaten by the mice.
Because the mice like to eat food, and it's actually not that weird that the mice eat gingerbread men.
Yeah, and then she throws her slipper at the Mice King, and he gets killed by the Nutcracker. Now, this is I remember seeing a movie version of this when I was in elementary school. We watched it in music class. And this was my favorite part of the movie, and I'll tell you why. Because at this point, the Nutcracker has come to life, but he is still a Nutcracker. And the way they show that
they just paint the chin lines.
No, they make that he's a human body, but he's wearing a giant Nutcracker, like paper mache head.
Okay.
And that's
tight.
I like to pretend like he's actually mid-transformation. It's not that they're just like, this was an old-timey stage production way to make it seem like a toy had become animated, but I imagine the Nutcracker is halfway into becoming a man, but he still has a wooden head, and so he's just running around with that.
Yeah, he's really just trying to finish the ritual. He needs mouse blood.
I think he needs mouse blood, probably. I mean
we're not even at our patented reboot strategy yet. I think we're just trying to make the original movie make sense.
Yeah. Now, here's some good news, Frank. There is a cartoon version of this called The Nutcracker Prince from 1990, and you can just watch the whole thing on YouTube because apparently nobody cares about that copyright.
Good.
Yeah.
So then they go to... So here's the... so the part I never really, I guess, got or whatever. So, like, that happens, and, like, it's Trill.
Mm-hmm.
And then he takes the
girl...
Her away. He just takes her to Sugar Plum Land, and, like, they're cool now. Like, the second part of the movie is just, like, a wish fulfillment thing.
Yeah, there's no action in the second part. The second part, they all just dance, and then they're married, and...
Yeah, like, it's kind of like a one-act play, but then there's also an extended... happily level after epilogue.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's not we can reboot this for sure, but we got to do something more than just like.
Mm-hmm. I want to crack this nut, yeah, and then I want to hold on. I want to crack this nut. I want to take the good bits. I want to push the shells off the table and take the good bits and mix them into the batter of another movie.
Yeah, and so I do definitely think we need to give Drosselmeyer a bigger deal.
He needs to make a resurgence in Act 2 and kind of threaten the Sugar Plum Land.
It's just
is what I'm guessing.
You can't have this man show up. He's like, "Hello, I'm on the city council, and I'm also
I'm
a magician.
Obviously evil, but then I'm going to leave you alone." It's like, what?
I look obviously evil. I'm on the city council. I'm also a magician, and I'm your godfather. There's just like bam, bam, bam,
There's
bam.
so
just
much going on.
Yeah.
And then he just shuts the door and says, "All right, I'm done."
You could drop the mic after
not here
literally
anymore.
any one of those things and it would be fine, but
Yeah.
he keeps going.
He just does them all.
Now, I watched another Christmas classic last night for the first time in my life, and I really loved it. And I think this could work really well. So I watched The Gremlins, or just Gremlins. I forget if it's but that's a Christmas movie in which it begins with a father looking for a Christmas present for his son, and he in the store in Chinatown, he buys this father is also like a kooky inventor who makes things called like the Bathroom Buddy, which is this giant plastic rectangle that has like a toothbrush and a mirror and stuff in it. But in the Chinatown store, there's this little fuzzy creature inside a box called a mogwai, and he's super cute, and the dad buys him, and then they tell him the rules. Don't put him in direct light because he hates it, and sunlight will kill him.
Okay.
Rule number 2, don't ever get it wet. And number 3, don't ever feed them after midnight. Now, this might be a rule.
And now he is just selling this deadly thing from his shop.
Well, he doesn't want to sell it, but then his grandson who works at the shop is like, no, go around back. I'll sell it to you. We really need this money.
Okay. So it sounds like we found our Mouse King.
Yeah, so it sounds like 1, we find our Mouse King, and 2, I think we might have found our Drosselmeyer. Because the man who owns the Chinatown shop is a very mysterious, heterochromiad Chinese man.
Okay, so Drosselmeyer. So we're keeping magician.
Gotta be a magician.
We're keeping inventor.
Yeah, we could combine them.
And we're gonna throw out local town councilman, but we're gonna replace it
local shop owner.
with shop owner.
Yeah.
In modern times, that's probably an equivalent amount of power.
Yeah, for sure. If you own a shop, you are basically city council level of clout.
Yeah, because you have control over business, like businessmancy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty good. And maybe that's what the magic is like
businessmancy.
Businessmancy.
So, so in Gremlins, as you know, so the Mogwai is a cute little. They name him Gizmo. He's a cute little.
Yeah, it's
fuzzy
basically
boy.
like a Furby.
Dude, so this is for real. I was watching this, and my wife Kelly goes, "Yeah, this is why like Furbies creeped everyone out because they looked so similar. And the whole point of this movie is this little cute fuzzy thing could actually totally like ruin your life."
Yeah, did you ever listen to a Furby when its batteries were dying and it would be like
my sister had a Furby and she just put it under her bed because she never used it and hated it, and then one night it woke up under the bed, and so she just like heard its like horrible creepy voice, like
Keening
gibberish
wail, yeah.
and it's gibberish language coming from like under her bed.
Dude, I would be gone.
Yeah.
There would be a me-shaped cloud hovering over the bed as I was just out.
The sheets would like temporarily be still up as if you were under them.
Yeah, I would just go right through the door.
Yeah, a U-shaped hole in the door and gunshot sound, of course.
Yeah.
But so then they accidentally get Gizmo wet, and this is the gross part. Turns out when you get a Mogwai wet, it reproduces more Mogwai, and they just explode out of its back like little like Nerf balls. They just like
They
just like pop out of its back while Gizmo's like screaming on the ground. It's actually kind of disturbing. He's very upset about it.
That's disturbing.
And so then these new Mogwai are all very rambunctious, and so Gizmo's like very sweet and nice. He reads the newspaper. He's adorable. The other Mogwai are very like mischievous and rambunctious, and they end up eating the cords, the power cord to the main boy Billy's clock. So he thinks it's before midnight, and he feeds them, and then they start to pupate, and then they come out as these horrible monsters called gremlins.
Okay, all right. So we got some good setup here. So let's change these coincidences, and now we have Mr. Drosselmeyer like maliciously manipulating events with his prestidigitation.
Oh, so now we're making Drosselmeyer the bad guy.
Well, he's not. I think
not against it.
He wants the Mogwai to reproduce. Like he's like a dark caretaker. So he engineers a situation, he hexes the clock so it stays at 11:59 and stuff like that. Because he wants the Mogwai to reproduce. But what he's not counting on is the Nutcracker's protection.
Yeah, and so in this case, the Nutcracker is the Nutcracker?
In this case, the Nutcracker is probably the Nutcracker.
Okay.
But I want... I'm glad that you brought it up earlier. So I don't want people to shrink. I want the toys to grow.
Yeah.
I want like a
big giant gremlin,
beefy Nutcracker.
Oh yeah,
like I want like a Nutcracker that's on the fireplace, like the Mogwai like rattles the house or something, and like the Nutcracker falls off the fireplace, and there's like a smash cut, right? So the Nutcracker falls off the fireplace and then just lands on the ground as like a 6 foot tall man. Yeah, okay. And he's just like, huh.
Does he have Nutcracker head still?
I don't know. I kind of like if he's just a man but wearing the Nutcracker's clothes.
He's just a man wearing the Nutcracker's clothes. He gets him. He's like, "Hey, what's how'd I get like
he's
this?"
he's just like Adrian, Billy. I mean,
so,
and then he just like because I think this is good.
So the beefy man,
Billy's father gave him the Nutcracker earlier in the movie, right? And he says like this little guy will always protect you, and then like puts him on the shelf in his room. Mm-hmm. We kind of set it up. So then the Christmas magic of Santa, are we going to have Santa as present as we previously have been?
Maybe we should. This is kind of what we've created is almost like a multiverse Santa universe.
Yeah, I want a Santa inspired Pinocchio situation where not all Nutcrackers can do this, but Santa makes this Nutcracker into a literal protector.
Okay.
Do we want the gremlins to be some kind of like
evil elves,
Grinch universe animal, like a beast from the Grinch universe?
Do we bring the Grinches into this one again?
Yeah,
the multiverse Grinch. Is
Mr. Drosselmeyer a Grinch in disguise?
And he wants to make more Grinches.
And he wants to poison Christmas and spirit in the town.
So in our previous universe, we established that Grinches are actually Santa elves in larval form almost, right?
Yeah, like in they're evil, and then when Christmas magic touches them, they become Santa's elves.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
so I think if you'll take a brief walk with me into Lord of the Rings, I'll use Lord of the Rings. Okay. So Grinches will be, like the orcs, let's say, where the Mogwai would be like the wargs, like they're like war beasts.
So they ride on the Mogwai.
Well, they can, yeah, or they're just trained. I don't want Mogwai to be sentient. I just want them to be like smart wolves.
Oh, they are pretty smart and sentient in this though. So you want to dumb them down.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, are we going to keep the good Mogwai Gizmo?
Yeah, because let's say maybe he was touched by Christmas magic.
Okay. Yeah, because Gizmo is a very good boy, because, so when Billy feeds all the other Mogwai, even though it's after midnight, he thinks it's before midnight, and he even offers some food to Gizmo, and Gizmo's like, no, because Gizmo knows,
he don't want to get bad. Midnight. He don't want to get bad.
Yeah, Gizmo's a good boy.
Okay, so he's a good boy. He got touched by Christmas. So, this is good. Here's what happens. So Billy's dad, Randall.
Yeah, it's Randall.
Randall gives him the Nutcracker toy, and he puts it on his shelf, and he says, this guy will always protect you from evil. You know what I mean? He says something that a parent wouldn't say to their child, but for the movie, it's something that has to set it up.
Yeah, now in the movie, I need to tell you this, Billy is, in his 20s.
Really?
Yeah.
See, the entire time I was like, oh, he's 12.
No, Billy's, a grown, boy who's helping. He still lives at home and stuff because basically his father doesn't make much money doing his inventions and stuff, so he's helping support the family.
All right, so it's a flashback to when Billy was 12. He's always had this Nutcracker toy. Mm-hmm. And his dad puts it on the shelf and he says when things are the worst in the world, Billy, this thing will always protect you.
Was the Nutcracker his dad's first invention? Because his dad is a kooky inventor.
I got it.
Okay.
So obviously Nutcrackers have existed, but Randall invented the auto Nutcracker.
Oh yeah.
It has a hopper. The Nutcracker is holding a a metal hopper that you put multiple nuts in, and then it just like just like breaks them all until the hopper's empty. There's like a little engine backpack on its back.
That fits pretty
well. And the reason why I like the Nutcracker holding technology is because when he grows up, and I mean, I think we already established this, but I'm just going to say it. When Christmas Magic makes him into...
we were both doing Stallone voice, so I'm pretty sure he's our default beefy man at this point.
Yeah. For our Christmas theme set, when the Nutcracker grows up to be the beefy Stallone man, he's got this kind of gear with him.
Okay.
He's
to
kind
chomp?
of,
So does his jaw get very bigly opened and he can chomp real good?
Yeah, but also he's got like a backpack with like that with like a ripcord to like start the engine. and then he can maybe like fire nuts out of the hopper.
And to be clear, his real man Sylvester Stallone jaw does open incredibly large to chomp.
It can what is it called?
Unhinge?
It unhinges like a snake.
Okay.
And but like we draw those black lines like on either side of the chin, like a Nutcracker cut.
Yeah, I got you.
And then that part of the bottom jaw just
oh god,
like to like
so
2
creepy.
feet wide. And I think I don't want to get too much ahead of ourselves, but I even think in the final fight, like they both use up kind of all their weapons, and then Stallone's just like, I just got one thing left. I can't do a Stallone voice. So then he opens his jaw like 2 feet wide and just like
chomps the whole gremlin's head off.
Chomps through this thing's neck.
Okay.
And there's like just gore everywhere.
Okay.
And then in the air the blood turns to snowflakes.
So in this we're saying instead of like the people shrinking, the things get bigger. And so Mogwai grow into giant gremlins.
Yeah, or like do they have like a monster form, or do they just get furry?
The gremlins are the monster form. The Mogwai are cute and little furry things. Then they turn
the gremlin. Okay, yeah.
They turn into these
they become
lizard-skinned monsters.
Yeah. Okay.
And they can like kind of talk. And the thing about the gremlins here, so I grew up thinking my whole life that the gremlins were like these gory murder monsters, but they're basically just like mischief monsters. Like I think they might kill one guy, but they're mostly just like destroying things. And so like the love interest in this movie, Phoebe Cates, she like is a bartender. And then so they cut to a scene where there's just like a shit ton of gremlins at the bar, and they're all being like, they're like, think of every like stereotypical biker bar you've seen, but like,
oh, they're like shooting pool.
Yeah, they're like shooting pool, and they're like fighting, and they're all like smoking and screaming, and like it's just terrible. But she's just like
they're smoking cigarettes with their hands.
Yeah,
like what is a gremlin? Okay, I'm gonna Google what a gremlin looks like.
You need to look up what a gremlin looks like. But so she's just like running around serving all of them, and so
they don't have money though.
No, but I think that she would...
They can't exchange...
But so what's weirdest to me about this is that apparently her job at the bar is so bad that literal tiny monsters coming in and like wrecking the place is normal enough that she's just like, I'll just like be a bartender.
These are like 2 feet tall humanoid bat scaly people.
Yes.
With like fangs, and they wear clothes and hats.
Some of them do, yeah.
Okay, this is not what I was.
So now they're big though. They're like people sized.
Yeah, now they're like, now they're like 8 feet tall.
There's also this great scene. So as soon as the gremlins,
they probably breathe acid or spit acid.
No, I
guess. They breathe air. They spit acid.
Yeah. So and then she so when the gremlins at Billy's house first show up, so like the Mogwai he accidentally duplicated like turn into gremlins, and his mom like. She goes up into his bedroom and finds all these hatched eggs, and then he calls home because the egg that he had at school hatched, and he saw it was like this crazy monster thing. So he calls his mom to tell her to get out of the house. She goes down to the kitchen and she sees all the gremlins like just doing shit in the kitchen, and one of them like leans over into this blender bowl thing that their dad invented, and he's like trying to get whatever out of it, and she just like jumps in, turns on the blender, then grabs a knife and goes and stabs another gremlin, and then she takes another one and sprays it with bug spray and then throws it in a microwave. And it's just like a scene I did not expect at all. Where this like
Okay, so you're making a laundry list of things that Nutcracker Stallone does.
Absolutely,
to
he does all these things as like
scale.
a throwback. But it's just the scene. I'm doing just a slight real like movie review here. I just love this scene because I expected this hapless mother to just like immediately get taken to town by these gremlins, where they like tie her up or like terrorize her and she freaks out, but she like instead she sees them in the kitchen and then immediately
she just like
rampages on them.
Murder.
Like
I think there's a secret story to tell there, but it's not one that we're gonna be telling.
Like that mother has seen some shit that this seeing these monsters in her house.
Or like she like recently came back from
She takes like it's seriously like a 10-second beat where she like freaks out a little bit and then she just goes nuts on them. But back to the Nutcracker. Stallone has come to life through invention magic.
Do we want Santa to be involved in this?
Oh yeah, Santa's got to be there. So Santa
does Billy like pray to Santa?
Is Santa like in this tiny town as a normal person? You know how Santa does that sometimes? Miracle on 34th Street style. He'll like pretend to be a regular
Santa,
boy.
So Billy works at the local bank, right? So Santa was like a beggar or something on the street.
Yeah.
And Billy gave him $20.
So here's what it is. I'm gonna tell you what it is. What did we say Drosselmeyer's deal was?
He uses
Is he a Grinch?
His wizard magic to make sure that the gremlins reproduce because he wants to ruin Christmas.
Okay, so here's what it is. Drosselmeyer is Santa's nemesis, like anti-Santa.
I thought you were going to say evil twin brother.
He could be an evil twin brother, for sure. We could do that. He's just Santa with an eye patch.
Or like a jealous, evil
cousin. He's Santa with an eye patch.
Yeah.
And like black clothes.
And a black beard still. It's not white.
Yeah, and so basically his whole thing is to go around and try to create Christmas chaos so that people hate Christmas. And that's actually kind of a subplot in Gremlins, is that the girl hates Christmas and Billy is amazed. Her name is Kate in this movie. Kate she doesn't celebrate Christmas, and Billy's like, "What? I thought everybody loved Christmas." And she's like, "No, for some people it's really depressing." And that's like a mind-blowing concept to him. But so maybe Santa can't find Drosselmeyer directly, but he can tell when like Drosselmeyer's going to act, maybe. So he comes to this town. He
can tell when Drosselmeyer has used his powers. It goes on the radar.
So he comes to this town and he's like, something's going to happen. And so he's there.
That's why he comes to the town.
He's there waiting. Santa Claus is coming to town. That's what that song is about. And
yes. Oh, dude, the opening, like the intro of that is going to be like a somber, like minor chord take on Santa Claus is coming to town.
Watch out. Better not cry. Yeah, like, but better than what I'm doing.
Like that.
Yeah, so he's there, like, ready and waiting to thwart Drosselmeyer. And he cannot directly act against Drosselmeyer because they're brothers?
Yeah, I think that's the balance of it. So Santa has all the Christmas magic.
Each Christmas, Santa has to
stop Drosselmeyer.
Yes, each Christmas this happens, but Santa can only do it by forging a champion. Santa has to have a champion every year to fight for him. Dude. And so this year that champion is
I'm just going to go one step farther.
Go on.
Let's throw something in.
Throw it in.
This movie, we reveal that our previous 3 weeks of Christmas movies were secretly orchestrated by the mastermind Drosselmeyer.
Each of those was Drosselmeyer in a different
different year.
Different years, different universes?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Santa can be multidimensional.
I'm just saying,
he delivers
because in the Rocky universe, we did establish that Santa is like a war Santa now, and he can incinerate with.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna do multiverse.
Yeah.
So
these are all different.
All the Santas have a
versions.
Drosselmeyer.
Yeah, all Santas have a Drosselmeyer. Drosselmeyer was the one controlling Ivan Drago.
Yep. In our previous.
Yeah. This is all coming together. So this is the big culmination in which we reveal Drosselmeyer as the Christmas villain. Oh man, it is both fitting and satisfying that both Christmas episodes we've done so far have established a cinematic universe. Mm-hmm. This one by accident. Okay, so Drosselmeyer makes Gremlins happen. Gremlins are going around making everybody's Christmas life miserable. Santa imbues the
Nutcracker.
the mechanical Nutcracker with Christmas magic that he may defend this town. And so what are Mogwai again?
So, well, Mogwai, I guess, are the larval form
Of a gremlin.
of a gremlin. And then gremlins are beasts. Oh, here we go. Gremlins are from the Grinch world, but instead of trying to
Steal Christmas.
spread Christmas gloom, they eat Christmas cheer.
Okay. They basically just make Christmas like, oh God, do you remember that Christmas where everything got wrecked? That was horrible. I hate Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so yeah, they do that.
They like,
And then
yeah, they just slide in there and like make all the turkeys burn.
so then
the
Gizmo
hams.
is he's a Mogwai who's like, no, this is wrong. Santa good.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to
And then
kill.
I think Santa says like, you're one of the, I like you. Pew. And then like,
he takes him at the end.
you won't turn into a gremlin.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, because Gizmo already, he's like, no, I won't eat after midnight. And do we need to fix this rule? Because
Yeah,
all-
23 hours and 59 minutes
Right.
of every day are after midnight.
the whole
yeah.
day is after midnight. So I think it's do not feed them after midnight before sunup. We just make that the rule.
Yeah, do not feed them at night. It would be really easy.
Well, no, because like in the wintertime, if it's like 4 p.m.,
Okay. Do not
feed them after midnight before sunrise. Done.
How do they, and we're not gonna,
Oh, yeah, they clearly like respect time zones and shit too.
yeah, like how do they know? But like we can't be the ones that deal
No,
with
that's
that.
I mean that's beyond any man's capacity. Okay, so then Stallone Cracker are we basically just doing we're just taking the first half of Nutcracker and making this movie, or is Stallone going to take Billy to the Sugar Plum Land afterwards?
Oh shoot, dude! You said Billy was in his 20s, right?
Yeah.
They can get married.
They could get married. Is Billy
They could.
Does Billy become the Nutcracker?
Oh.
Do they combine bodies?
Oh man, dude! Is it like is it like an Ultraman thing?
Yeah,
like
just
they have to.
the Nutcracker like jumps onto Billy and Billy like morphs into Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, or it's even like I think so. Let's do this instead. I think we can do this instead. The mechanized Nutcracker is full of Christmas magic, but it needs an animating force. So Billy needs to take the Christmas magic fold Nutcracker and raise it over his head and say, "I have the Christmas spirit."
Yeah, and then and
then a bolt of blue snowflake lightning hits Billy from the sky.
We do get so we get a really good like anime transformation sequence where
Yeah.
it's spinning around Billy and like basically the pieces of the Nutcracker like come apart and grow into like
Yes!
human-sized armor, and then they like fuse
and they
onto him.
like it's like wood still, but then it was like shung,
Yeah.
and like turns into metal.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then he has like he has a sword and then also like a gun in his other hand.
And he's definitely got that backpack full of things and the
Yeah.
chomping jaws.
Yeah, and then the big chomping jaws. Oh yes, dude. So Billy and the Nutcracker idol basically.
Yes.
They just fuse.
So then he becomes Christmas
Like
superhero.
He-Man style is what we're both talking about, right?
Yeah. He
Yeah.
becomes Christmas hero, the Nutcracker.
The Nutcracker.
And he does have the face and body and voice of Sylvester Stallone in this form.
And I actually think I want to do. I'm pretty sure this remains true in He-Man, although I haven't really seen a ton of He-Man. But like, I think while he's the Nutcracker, like his intellect, his mind is the Nutcracker and not Billy. Like he knows things about Christmas and stuff like that. That only the
Billy's
Nutcracker.
consciousness takes second fiddle, takes the
It's
back seat.
yeah.
Billy can like watch and speak to
And
the
go,
Nutcracker.
"Wow."
Billy can speak to the Nutcracker in their head, but Billy cannot like control the body or anything.
Or like, no, that's Randall, whatever, like
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
yeah.
Because the Nutcracker doesn't know much about the modern world.
In a moment of drama, Billy may exert some control over the body to stop the Nutcracker from killing
Yeah.
Gizmo, maybe.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's
Oh my
very
gosh, That's
good.
way better. Okay, yeah. So he uses the Nutcracker to become he uses the Christmas magic on his beloved toy
Yes.
That will always protect him in his time of need.
So then what we'll do is, we'll do part 1 of the Nutcracker in this movie. Mm-hmm. And then there will be a sequel called Return to Sugar Plum Land or something, where Billy then learns the origins of his Nutcracker magic powers and the kingdom and all that stuff.
Where like we'll do like he'll be like fighting a Grinch or something, and like he'll like lose his power and split apart into Billy and Billy and the toy, and I'll be like, "What happened?"
And then he has to return to the Plum Land to get
and then the guy from Numbers will show up, and he'll say it's because you haven't gotten married.
The guy from Numbers will show up, and he's like, "I'm also a Christmas elf from the Santa Claus."
Yeah. I'm the other one too, but you have to get married too. Everybody has a Mrs. Claus.
And then we establish a shared Santa-matic universe where
the linchpin is the Numbers guy.
The linchpin is the Numbers guy, and then all the Santas will eventually, like all the different Santas or Santa magic characters will team up to fight Drosselmeyers. They're combined Drosselmeyers.
Like when all the Crimson Chins combined in the Fairly Odd Parents?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have Nickelodeon growing up.
Like 4 people got that, but it's a perfect actual example of what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's very, very good. That's very good. And then Billy gets a good job, and
yeah, well, he gets promoted at the bank because now he's confident and wears like good suits.
Yeah, Judge Reinhold is in this movie for about 10 seconds as the senior VP or the
bank man.
Yeah, but he's like, look at me, I'm a vice president at 23, and I laughed out loud because he's supposed to be 23 years old. He is only 27 in that movie, but at 27, Judge Reinhold looked like he was 45.
Yeah.
So it was very funny. And also in the movie, Billy has a dog that this old woman is threatening to kill the entire time. I think we can just get rid of that.
Yeah, like I don't think we need that.
But yeah, so then he does kill. So he won't know about his jaw chomping until he's out of other powers, and then the Nutcracker.
Yeah, like he'll be like,
we have one more.
And then Billy will say, like the Nutcracker will say, like, I have nothing left, and then Billy will say, like,
I got nothing left. I got nothing.
Aren't we a Nutcracker?
I got nothing left against this gremlin. How's my Stallone?
That's really good. And then Billy will be like, wait a second,
we're a Nutcracker.
We're still a Nutcracker.
Like, oh yeah. Oh, all right.
I'm giving Billy a lot of voice cracking, even though he's in his 20s.
Oh, we got a Nutcracker. He's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I can do that. And then he
he was like, and then like you like hear like the gears like ching 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 as like it just keeps going, and then he just chomps the whole thing.
Let's say too that when he unhinges his jaw, it definitely like breaks something a little bit. Like normally the mouthpiece is like a certain way that he's actually not. He doesn't extend it, but then like it breaks the limiters off or something, and so now he can.
Yes, and he becomes Ultimate Christmas Nutcracker Unlocked version 2.
Oh yeah, Christmas Nutcracker Supreme.
Yeah, I think mine was still good. I don't know why we need to change it, but yeah, that's fine.
And
do you even remember what I just said? Ultimate Christmas Nutcracker version 2, is that what it said?
Something like that.
So, Ultimate Christmas Supreme Nutcracker
2.0.
2.0.
Version 2.
He comes out of his Christmas cocoon, which is a solid blue outline of a pine tree.
Oh, hell yeah. There is a little boy who works for the guy who sells Christmas trees, and this little boy, he's like a mascot, and his mascot is he's just wearing a tree. Like, he looks like a Christmas tree.
Yeah. He's the Nutcracker's, like, Robin or like Tonto.
Hell
or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good. Do we need anything else for this?
We need a stinger. So they go to Sugar Plum Land, and then we get a post-credits sequence of Drosselmeyer's like planning.
Well, they don't go to Sugar Plum Land until movie 2. We don't even know about Sugar Plum Land in movie 1.
Right. They go home for Christmas,
Yeah.
and then we get a stinger on Drosselmeyer's.
Yeah, Drosselmeyer.
evil.
We like pan up from the body of a gremlin or something. Maybe. Okay.
A wing-toed boot kicks the corpse of a dead gremlin, and Drosselmeyer's voice says, Back to the drawing board.
No, here's what we do. We don't know Drossel. I think maybe they killed Drosselmeyer. This universe is Drosselmeyer. So we think he's dead. I think what we do is we pan up from a gremlin's dead body, and then we see the guy from Numbers.
Oh, and with a clipboard.
Yeah.
And he's writing down, wait, camera cuts over his shoulder. It's Numbers.
Yes.
He's writing numbers.
Yes. He's just like recording data, and he says,
yeah, he's got a lot of.
He says something like, he's ready, or he's this will work for the team, or we're going to put him on our super team of Santa. Like,
put that on ice.
Yeah. Something like that.
And then, you know how at the end of like Marvel movies, there's like the black screen and it says like Thor will return in Avengers 3.
The Nutcracker will return in.
Yeah. Well, no. We get the Numbers guy will return in the Nutcracker 2.
We focus on the guy who is only in the end credits movie. That'd be like him at the end of the first Iron Man movie.
This guy from Numbers, what's his name? You know what I'm talking about.
His name's Bernard.
Will return in the Nutcracker 2.
His name is Bernard in the Santa Claus movies. I don't know his real name.
Me neither.
So it's just so that'd be like at the end of the first Iron Man if it said Nick Fury will return in Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, what?
The guy from Numbers, TM copyright, will return.
That's good. That's good. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. That's going to do it for us. We hope you all had a very pleasant holiday, whatever holiday it is that you celebrate or don't celebrate. We love all of you. Thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, please take a moment to review and rate us on iTunes. That helps us out a ton. And tell a friend if you know anybody who you think might like our reboot shenanigans. Until next time, I'm Scott Owen.
I'm Frank Serra.
And Frank, what's our password for next week?
Our password for next week is sugar plums.